today we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane back to when LEGO was free to make any Star Wars set they wanted without being under the limitations of the license of Disney, to look at the top 10 LEGO Star Wars Legends or Expanded Universe sets. I assume that most of you guys do know what Legends is, but if you don't, here is the definition from Wikipedia. It says Star Wars Legends, formerly known as the Expanded Universe, encompasses every one of the license and background stories of the Star Wars universe outside of the original 6 Star Wars films produced by George Lucas and certain other materials such as Star Wars The Clone Wars created before April 25th, 2014. So basically it was just extra Star Wars content that was made before Disney bought Star Wars, like some video games such as The Old Republic and The Force Unleashed, and then hundreds and hundreds of books and comics, but we're not even going to get into all of those. But anyways, without further ado, here are my picks for the top 10 LEGO Star Wars Legends sets. Starting off with some honorable mentions, first up we have 75001 Republic Troopers vs Sith Troopers Battle Pack. This is the smallest set that came in the LEGO Star Wars Old Republic wave back in 2013, and I'm not gonna lie, it is a pretty good battle pack. All 4 of the minifigures are different, with 3 of them being exclusive, the one that isn't exclusive being the Black Sith Trooper that was also featured in the Republic Cruiser. Then you get this weird looking speeder that really reminds me of something out of like a LEGO Aqua Raiders set, but other than that there's really not a whole lot to say about this set. I mean, the minifigures are pretty cool, and then the one Republic Trooper does come with a pretty cool looking gun. Moving on to our second and last honorable mention, we have 75079 Shadow Troopers Battle Pack. Now it kind of hurts me that I had to put this as an honorable mention because I actually think this battle pack is very underrated. It's just that it doesn't really compete with the sets that are to come. But anyways, if you didn't know, this battle pack is based off of The Force Unleashed, as you do actually fight one of the Shadow Guards later in the game. And when this set came out, I didn't even know it was based on The Force Unleashed. I mean, everyone was just hating it because no one knew what these figures were. But if you actually do a little bit of research, they do have a pretty cool backstory, and despite the hate they got, I think the figures do look very, very good. And starting off the official list, at our number 10 spot, we have 7668 Rebel Scout Speeder. Now this set is pretty much the perfect picture of what a battle pack should look like. A small vehicle with 4 identical figures. Give or take, you could have 3 identical figures and then 1 to either pilot the vehicle or just a special figure that's kind of a one-off. The 4 Rebel Troopers are clearly based off of the Rebel Troopers that were in the opening scene of episode 4, and then the speeder itself is loosely based off of one of the playable Rebel speeders in the original Battlefront 2 from 2005, and that is the reason that this is a legend set. And I really do have to say, this is definitely one of the most underrated battle packs LEGO's ever made, and it is definitely up there as one of the best, but in my opinion it is not as good as 7667 Imperial Dropship, which is our number 9 spot. This set was released in 2008 along with the Rebel Trooper battle pack that we just talked about, and the Imperial Dropship is loosely based, or I'd rather say a miniature version of the Imperial Dropship from The Force Unleashed. It also includes 3 identical Stormtroopers and then a Shadow Trooper, and then of course, like I mentioned, you have the Dropship. I do have to say these 2 battle packs are close to being on the same level. I just think this one is better, obviously, because Stormtroopers are just cooler than Rebels, and you also do get that Shadow Trooper, which is a really great minifigure. Moving on to our number 8 spot, we have 75204 Sandspeeder. Now this ship actually has a bit of a weird and somewhat interesting backstory. The Sandspeeder was originally a concept for a toy by Kerner Products, but that ultimately got rejected, and then the Sandspeeder was kind of just forgotten about until it officially appeared in a Star Wars role-playing game called Onslaught at Arda 1. So it was pretty unknown before this set and had a pretty interesting backstory, but nevertheless LEGO did for some reason decide to make a set about this, and I'm not even disappointed. This is a pretty great set. The Sandspeeder is basically just a redesign of a Snowspeeder in a tan color, but really the main drive for me for this set is those 2 exclusive pilots, or I should say pilot and then a gunner. Both of those minifigures just look really, really good, and this is definitely a set for mock builders, as those 2 figures could probably easily be used as Rebel pilots in any type of mock you wanted. And then you also get a really nice build of a moisture evaporator. Moving on to our number 7 spot, we have 75087 Anakin's Custom Jedi Starfighter. If you didn't know, this set is based off of the original 2003 Clone Wars cartoon, where Anakin decided to customize his Jedi Starfighter and put a hyperdrive and extra weapons on it. And this actually is one of my favorite sets that LEGO's ever made. The blue and white color scheme with the beefed up looking Starfighter just looks so good. And then better yet, you get an exclusive Asajj Ventress minifigure, which is as of today the most recent Asajj Ventress that LEGO has made. And then you get that Anakin Skywalker minifigure, which is in fact the same Anakin Skywalker that came in the 2013 Republic Gunship. I mean, overall this was just a really solid set. It came out in 2015 and it was $40, and I guess you could say that this was a bit pricey at $40 for 2015. It maybe could have been $35, but I'm not complaining. It came with a great minifigure selection and then a great build. Moving on to our number 6 spot, we have 7672 Rogue Shadow. Now this is probably the most infamous and popular LEGO Star Wars Legends set ever made. I mean, if you didn't know, it is based off of the Rogue Shadow from The Force Unleashed. And I do have to say, this is just kind of a weird ship. It's a pretty weird looking ship in the video game. I mean, obviously it looks really freaking cool, but it's also just kind of strange how two of the wings are uneven. But it's also even weirder looking in Lego form, but nevertheless, it does look pretty cool. It comes with 3 minifigures, 2 of them being exclusive. The exclusive ones obviously being Starkiller and then Captain Juno Eclipse. It does look a little bit weird as she actually has printed eyes and a printed mouth, as Starkiller and Darth Vader do not. So it kind of makes her the odd one out and a bit of a strange looking minifigure. Really the only thing that this set is missing is Proxy. I wish they would have included him in some type of way. I feel like really the only way they could have done that is to make a completely custom mold for him. And they definitely could have done it, but they just didn't. I mean, you have to remember that this was 2008 and the set was already $50 for 480 pieces, which is basically perfect value. I just really feel like 3 minifigures is just not enough, and Proxy really would have made this set absolutely perfect. Moving on to my number 5 spot, we have 9497 Republic Striker Class Starfighter. This set was released in June 2012 along with the Sith Interceptor. It has 376 pieces and it retailed for $45. It also includes 3 exclusive minifigures, that being Satele Shan, an astromech droid, and a Republic Trooper, or Jace Malcolm is his in-universe name. Now, if you watch my top 10 most underrated sets videos, you do know that I did put this set pretty high up on that list, as I too think it is very underrated. I really love the look of the ship. I absolutely love the color design. I love the dark red with the white. I think it just flows perfectly. And the ship, it's also really aesthetically pleasing, especially in its landing mode, as the wings do fold in. And then obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you do get those 3 really great minifigures. Moving on to our number 4 spot, we have 7664 TIE Crawler. Now, this is definitely one of the most popular sets on this list. It was released in August of 2007. It has 548 pieces and it retailed for $50. And it also included 2 identical Shadow Troopers, which are in fact the same Shadow Troopers that came in the Imperial Dropship Battle Pack. If you don't know what the TIE Crawler is in universe, it is actually called the Sentry Tank, or the TIE Tank, or TIE Sentry Tank. And it first appeared in the first issue of the Dark Empire series all the way back in 1991. And then it later appeared in novels like The Crimson Empire and Legacy of the Force. And it also appeared in Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, if any of you guys have played that game. Now back to the actual set, I think it looks really unique, especially with the classic blue and black TIE Fighter design. And I think the 2 Shadow Troopers are an absolute perfect fit for this set, even though you can only fit 1 inside of the actual ship. Although the only downside about this set is that it is quite flimsy, I've heard. And also it does include those Lego treads, which are always a pain in the butt to build. Moving into our number 3 spot, we have 10131 TIE Fighter Collection. This set was released in August of 2004. It has 682 pieces and it retailed for $70. Now don't get me wrong, I think this set is absolutely amazing, as you get 2 TIE Fighters, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and then a TIE D Fighter, or just a Droid TIE Fighter. And if you didn't know, that Droid TIE Fighter is technically what makes this set Legends. The fighter was first mentioned in the Dark Empire 3 in April of 1992, and it was also in the Star Wars Rogue Squadron video game from 1998. Although I had to put it at the number 3 spot because I'm not gonna lie, I think this set is slightly overrated. I mean, you do get obviously 4 separate ships, and that's really freaking awesome to come in a Lego set, especially 2 identical ships, because it was perfect for army building, and the value of it was absolutely amazing too. Although really, if you look at the ships individually, really the special ship is the Droid TIE Fighter, as the other 2 TIE Fighters and Darth Vader's TIE Advance are literally the exact same designs that we got in the previous years. So, I mean, in a sense, it's cool to get them all in one set, but in another sense, it's not like these are exclusive sets. You could almost categorize this as a value pack, and I'm not trying to hate on the set by any means at all. It's just I think it does get a little too much praise within the community, and I obviously can see why, because Lego would never make a set like this today. Really, my very small complaint is that I think the TIE Fighter should have had a little bit of a more unique design. Moving on to my number 2 spot, we have 9500 Sith Fury Class Interceptor. This set was released in June of 2012 alongside the Republic Striker Class Starfighter. It has 748 pieces and it retailed for $90. And it includes 3 exclusive minifigures, 1 being that very sought after Darth Malgus figure, and then 2 identical Sith Troopers that are both exclusive as well. Now, I was actually so close to putting this set at the number 1 spot, and honestly, I almost want to consider this a tie, as I think the set that is to come after this is just barely better, and it's not even with the set, it's just because of the minifigures. But I mean, this really is one of the most impressive builds I've seen, especially for 2012. This ship almost looks like a mock. I mean, it's super detailed, it's super beefy, it's very structurally sound, it has that really nice printed cockpit piece, and it overall just has a lot of detail and looks very, very nice. And then of course, you had that very nice Darth Malgus figure, which is actually going for northwards of $200 on its own. I've said this before, and really the only thing I don't like about this set is the lack of detail inside the cockpit and kind of how crammed it looks. But really, if you just look at the set from the outside, it is an absolutely amazing build. Now, moving on to my number 1 pick for the best Lego Star Wars Legends set, we of course have 75025 Jedi Defender Class Cruiser. This set was released in August of 2013 2013 and was actually the last Old Republic set to come out. It had 927 pieces and it retailed for $90, and it came with 4 minifigures, 3 of them being exclusive, and all 3 of the exclusive minifigures are worth a pretty penny today, especially the Jedi Knight minifigure, which is going for northwards of $150 on its own. Now, I do think the build itself looks really good, although the shaping is a little bit weird, as it's actually almost as wide as it is long, so it makes the proportions look a little bit goofy. But I mean, if you ignore that, this actually is a really nice looking ship and comes with absolutely amazing minifigures, and it's honestly pretty sad that LEGO was only able to get around to making 4 Old Republic sets. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with this list, and which LEGO Star Wars Legends sets are your favorites, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now.